Hi guys, Craig Zuckerman with zlinefitness. Today's video was actually a part of a lower back repair video series that we have as a product, but I wanted to bring it to you today because a lot of us are sitting a lot more than we usually do because of these stay-at-home orders because of COVID-19. And I just want to get some more helpful tips out to you. Now we have other videos that are great for that too. We have a video on sitting in bed that I'll show you a link for here to prevent lower back pain, neck pain, and that sort from sitting in bed. Also ergonomic setups for your desk. Got another link for that video right up there. And finally, I have one for sitting on the couch. When you sit on the couch, that can create all kinds of pains. Most of us are binge watching like crazy, so you need a little bit extra help with preventing aches and pains that way. We got your video up here. So I hope you guys like this. Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you get notifications because we're going to start going live to answer your questions and help you out with all your aches and pains and exercise questions. Enough though, on with the video. Sitting in a chair, like when you're sitting at the dinner table or maybe you're out at the movie theaters, that can also become a repetitive stress in itself depending on the way you sit. So right now, as we're looking at Lori, she's sitting, her butt's a little forward, so that makes her in this rounded lower back or scooped position, a slouch-like position. As we've discussed, that opens the disc in the back. It stretches out the lower back muscles too when you sit here for a long period of time. And then those lower back muscles will freak out and tighten up on you in the lower back. And a lot of times our lower back pain may not just be from the disc, but it may be the lower back muscles being put in a prolonged stretch, in which case they freak out and recoil and tighten up. And that low-grade pain is actually a muscular spasm in your lower back. And sitting in this position is one of the big ways to create that in your lower back. So you don't want to be sitting in the rounded back position. You want to make sure that your hips are scooted back so the chair supports you more, or even better, if you have something like a small jacket or something like that that you can roll up and put in your lower back, like this, just kind of take your jacket, this is a little hoodie, and go ahead and put it in your lower back. I always carry one with me, so I have it, especially at the movie theaters, because those chairs are horrible, and they kind of recline back. So I always have this. I throw it in my lower back. While I'm on the plane, I grab it, throw it in my lower back, or if you can get one of those little pillows on the plane too. And anything you can do to keep this lower back in its natural curve will help to reduce your lower back pain. Additionally, what you don't want to do is cross your legs. So if you ever, now she's just crossing them at the heel. Now that's one of the lesser versions of crossing your legs. It doesn't do too much, but it can still affect your back, so you want to switch it up. But the big one is when you're crossing your legs like this. So even with the lower back support of the jacket, the crossing of the legs is going to create a repetitive stress that is going to disturb your hip stability and your lower back stability and create lower back pain and sciatica. So if you must cross your leg, that's okay, but just make sure you cross it often. Switch which leg is crossing the front. It's when it's always the same leg that it becomes a really big problem. But even in itself, just crossing your legs is a problem. So it'd be best to have the leg down and not be crossing the leg at all when you're sitting. And we're not just talking about that kind of crossing your legs. We're talking about crossing your legs like this. Now this one, and you know what? I'm going to turn her around so you can see her from the front. Okay, this crossing the leg is something I do when I sit at a computer. In fact, just recently I had sciatica in my lower back, and it's because I spent 2 weeks working on these videos editing, and I was sitting just like this at my desk. That stretched out the muscles on the left side of my hip, and that piriformis muscle then, which is being compressed in this range of motion, flared up, tightened down on me, locked down on my sciatic nerve, and woke me up in the middle of the night with sciatica. Now you may have thought it was the way I was sleeping, but it wasn't. It was because I was spending hours every day sitting like this. And it took a good 2 weeks before the sciatica set in. Now, I just did my lower body exercise series and stopped crossing this leg, and I was doing fine again, out of pain, no problems whatsoever. But that's how devastating something like this can be when it's done over and over again. I mean, even if you did switch your legs up on this one, there's such a stretch to this. And even if you did the other one where the foot's up on top, like this, again, this is what you use as a piriformis stretch. This is what you would do to stretch your piriformis, that small muscle that's under your glutes. And that piriformis muscle is on top of the sciatic nerve. So if you put into a prolonged stretch, it is a good chance it's going to freak out, tighten up, and recoil on you and create that compression on the sciatic nerve. And even if it doesn't, it may just stay in a little wobbly, relaxed position because you've hyper stretched it, and then it's not stabilizing your hips, and that's going to cause problems in your lower back. Even sitting like this, because of the one leg being down on the ground and this leg not being on the ground, you can see this hip is slightly lower on the left side than the right, because that foot isn't stabilizing or holding that hip up. So that little angle again allows that disc to swell out to the side, or just destabilizes the tension in your lower back muscles, which creates a lot of pain. So crossing your legs as a whole, whether it be on any of these ways, is not going to be good. A really bad one is doubling up the legs to the side. So go ahead and show that one. This one. It's even hard to get into. This can really create some problems. I've even had clients that have sat just like this, and because of sitting like this, have had really bad hip problems and lower back problems. So this isn't good. I mean, even if you switch it up frequently, it's still just such a great, imbalance in the lower back. It's gonna cause some problems. Lastly, with this, and also sitting with your legs crossed, crisscross applesauce. This guy. Now, a lot of times if we're sitting on the ground, we kind of have to sit like this. There's not too much of a choice, and we'll show you some things that are sitting on the ground later. But with this, you got to make sure that at least you switch which leg is underneath every time you're sitting in this cross-leg position. It would also still be wonderful in all of these to have something behind your lower back. If for some reason you got to sit up like this when you're sitting in a chair, you should be able to put your legs on the ground. But if you have to do this, at least switch the legs and put something behind your lower back, and that's going to help a lot with this. All right, one last thing. Go ahead and put your feet down. This is, and we talked about this in the very beginning of my client story. So it's the wallet. If you have a wallet or anything in your back pocket, that lift in your back pocket is going to lift that one hip up, and you'll see that instability in her hips. That's going to compress on this side, allow the discs to shoot out on that way, and that's going to create the pressure on the sciatic nerve or create other problems in your lower back. So you really don't want to have any kind of wallet or anything else. Some people carry handkerchiefs, or maybe you have tissue paper or something like that, wipes for your baby, whatever it may be that you're throwing in your back pocket, hopefully not your phone because you're crushing it. You don't want to have it back there if you're going to have to sit, especially if you're sitting for a long period of time because of the instability in your lower back. So these are all great ways to not sit, to make sure you're not hurting your lower back. Great to just keep your feet on the ground, have something in your lower back, and again, that'll go a long way to reducing the repetitive stress that may have gotten you injured in the first place. Hey guys, if you like this video and want to see more like it, be sure to subscribe to our channel. Also, click that bell. Then you'll get notifications the next time we put out a video. If you like us, click on the like button. You can also leave us questions and comments below. We love it. And see you next time.